1, 2, 3. Okay, let's start. I will just go through a few things, announcement before we actually start our class for the lecture part. Okay, first one is okay. First one is the installation of this Oracle database 21C. Based on the course coordinator announcement this semester, we will use this 21C aspiration edition. So you are advised to download and install this newest version of Oracle Express rather than using the old one. Okay, and there is some note here just to tell you step by step what you need to know during this installation process. Okay, next one here. This one is released by the lab, this campus lab assistant. They send me this part. Say once you finish installation, just try to log in and create some user. But I already find I try, but this one seems like not working. So student, this part just ignore first, okay? Just ignore first. I will try and release the new version or what we need to do in order to create a user. Okay, so this one is the first part. Next one, the lecture slide is already uploaded. All the lecture slide already uploaded here. Okay, so I think you already get it, should be okay. And this is a cost file for the Form B, the cost plan, everything, what you need, what you will learn for this course is already included in this part. Next one is the assignment. I will discuss it later. Okay, so our subject name, Advanced Data Management. And this one is my name. My name is Tan Tai Ling. My phone number is 0165202685. You may need to mark it down. So in case you want to ask anything, you can just WhatsApp me. Okay. Because I also in charge for others school. So the timing for reply may be a little bit late. If after one day you still haven't get my reply, it means I forget. So you need to chase me, ask me again. Say, sir, what any response for this question or whatever. Okay, so easy. Don't wait to the next day. Then you may wasting a lot of time. Okay, so phone number. Then next one is the email. If any of your question need to attach attachment, need to send attachment, try to send to email. If just asking yes or no, true or false, then WhatsApp easy lah, rather than key in a lot of this message to the email part. Okay, so my email tltan76@gmail.com. I prefer to use the first one. Second one, only when you want to submit your assignment, you send it to this P1553. Okay, so this part okay. Next one is later I will release another form, Google form, and ask you to key in something. Of of course, for teaching purpose. Okay. So should ask you to key in your name, phone number. This one is compulsory. Then all other things you can just just key in anything you want. Okay. One thing I may need you to test. Okay, one thing I may need you to test and give the correct one is after testing of this speedtest.net, this part, after test, you will have this upload and download. So I need you to key in your mobiles. If you're using data, I need you to key in this telco and the upload and the download. Okay, so this one, in case let's say you cannot, your connection is too slow, and I know what is the problem. Okay, so it should be all okay. Okay, then we continue to the assignment. CC advises to let you know the assignment. And I have to go through this part first before we start the lecture. Okay, first one here is each of this group maximum is 4 members. And now for this assignment, we are using this Oracle DBMS with PL SQL. Okay, so plus SQL plus. Okay, so this one you for the member you need to check. We have how many students here? 26. Okay, so class lab. Can class rep reply? I may need to mark down your name, and later you'll be in charge to organize all these group. Okay, Pacey, right? Pacey. Okay, so Pacey, you have to in charge and organize how many students in one group. So maximum is 4. So I already checked. So we should have 7 group. If 6 group, then we'll have an extra. Extra 1 student. Okay, so it will be good that we have a 7 group. Okay, next part. We need to develop one database, and the important point, in order to get good mark, we need to have this integrity. If anything's wrong with the integrity, then will be deduct mark. Next one is efficient and effectiveness using this database. And the last one here, we have this SQL query. So you need to use this SQL query better. So in order to get better mark. Okay, the submission due date is the 1st of April 2022, week 11, 10 p.m. Okay, so this one week 11, then continue week 12. This one since this one should be Friday. Okay, so this one is Friday, so it won't be possible. We will have this presentation. So normally after you submit, then the next week only we start doing the presentation. I will find another time, not maybe, okay? Maybe it will not be our lecture class. we may have some replacement during our semester. A lot of holiday this time. Okay, so we check check again. When is the presentation? Will be week 12 to week 13. Okay, so this part is important. You need to select from this topic, whether you want to do library or any of this software, pep shop, etc. We have a 10 example here, 7 group to choose from this. So first come, first serve. You need to talk to your class rep to register after your group is formed, and you choose the title. Okay, so this one I need to done before the next time we meet. Class rep, you need to send me an Excel file, put in the title and the group member for each group. Okay, so others we will discuss later. This one is bi-weekly, what you need to do and in order to get a good mark. Okay, a lot of this part say is individual mark. You can see here. Yeah. Oh. Okay, a lot of this part mark is award to individual rather than the whole group. So we need to communicate to each other for the group member. And of course, during the presentation, you need to tell me for your part. And this mark is an award to you. Okay. Okay, so I finished the elaboration for the assignment. Any question before we jump to our PowerPoint? No? Okay, it's okay. During the whole semester, you can continue to ask this assignment. Okay, so already I upload this assignment to our Google Class. You may just go and download and see what you need to do. Okay, for the report part, this one CC already give us the table contain what you need to do and how you're going to update this assignment report part. The template is already here, so easy for you. So you just plug in the data or whatever that you want to say to illustrate your work in this assignment. Okay, so this one is also upload to the system, Google Class. Okay, so if no problem, then we can start. Okay. Okay, so exam part is 30%. The coursework part is 70%. We have a test 40%. Assignment is 60. CC ask all the lecturer to pay attention to this part. Start from this SEM, we will have a physical test rather than the online one. Okay, so there is a lot of a different from the online FOA, online final online assessment. So the method is a little bit different. Then the way that you prepare for your exam will be different as well. Okay, so I think you understand. A lot of previously a lot of this definition is removed because you can find it in internet. But at this time, it may be a little bit different. So you prepare for this part. Okay, so we have a ninth chapter here. Whether you're still familiar with this, because the for the syllabus, course syllabus, it states that you already learned some database management knowledge maybe 1 to 2 years ago. Although some students will always say, sir, I forget everything already. But this one is just for you to, for the starting, so for the starting, is just to do some revision. Okay, so every time when we start this database, we always use this thing, data, info. And of course, after you get all this, it will become knowledge and it will help you to make some decisions. So I always like to ask a student to cooperate. So we have a two-way communication rather than I keep telling everything here. Okay, so we have this data and we have information. Alvin. Oh, by the way, this supervisor asked me to advise student to turn on your camera. Yeah. Okay. So Alvin, what is is Alvin here? Yes. Okay. You can turn on your mic, then just explain in your own word. What is the difference or what is the relationship between data and information? Yes, it's okay. You can type, but don't copy from internet. Use your own word. Short and simple. Don't need to type 1,000 words. Sung Linh. Sung Linh. Since Alvin is still waiting, can you give an example for data and information? Okay, so Alvin's answer here, data is the value of something, Then information is something that already the data already interpret or process. Okay, Ken? So we wait for Sung Ling. I want an actual example. Okay, I think should I say Hong Ten, right? Hong Ten say data is student mark and information is class average. Okay, Ken, thank you. But you all right, Sung Ling. So Sung Ling, later you may need to answer another question. Okay, we help each other for this course. Actually, when I go through a lot of this question can be asked, and a lot of the time we can just prepare for the final during our class. So when we go through this question and answer for this part, we actually help each other to understand the whole course rather than wait until a last minute final exam, then only catch up, do the revision or study. Okay, so we have this data info and become when we have this knowledge, so just now Honten say the data, your student individual exam or test mark is the data. Then we will generate this information, so we know the average mark for a particular project or particular subject. Then we will know the average. So this class, if the average mark for this subject is over 80, means all the students get good mark, right? Okay, so we have the knowledge that all the students having a good mark for this subject. Then we can continue doing this decision. Maybe we can push out a bit, ask them to attend advanced database management. If all the students get lower than 50 or average, average, just around 50, then we better just cancel ADM. Okay, so this one is making a decision whether, the student is capable or to go at once for this part. Okay, next. During this 1 to 2 year, even watching this movie, we have a lot of time. We have this keyword called big data, but haven't come out yet. Okay, so how much of this data is useful information when just now we say the student mark is considered as data. I give another example, or actually got a lot of examples. So let's say now I go to Lotus, or previously called Tesco. When I buy something and I record my receipt, this one is considered as data. And if I record and from the first day of the year until end of the year, I have let's say 12 transactions. Then I can just combine all this, and I know, okay, how much I already spent in Lotus, and what is the product that I always buy. Okay, so this one is data and info. Another one, if we have a lot of this data, but because the info is always different, so how are we going to make use of all this individual data in our life? So you can see here we have a Facebook, Zoom, WhatsApp, a lot, Amazon. What is this? All this is individual number, whether it is their sales or whether there is the data that passed through or this Facebook during the whole year or just 1 month, 1 day, how many minutes. Okay, so this one is a bit of data that to show the whole picture. So you can see we just combine everything and show the picture. So this one is 2020, every minute of the day, how many data is passed through this website. Okay, so this one is a lot of data actually is passed through from the terminal to the server, go through the whole internet. And if possible, some of this server will catch all this data and try to do some analysis. Okay, so continue on this part. Just now we say data, info, knowledge. So we have raw data, and all this data is not summarized. It have a lot of different fields. So just now we say, let's say Tesco, the part, we have the total price, the amount that I need to pay, how many product I already buy, and each product have how many quantity. So all this is the raw data. So we need to process it, then it become information. So this information will later be used for this decision making. So whether I should continue visit Tesco, or maybe I can go to Econsafe. Okay, so this one is some example, some example. After we process all the data and we based on the information, we make the decision. So whether Tesco or Lotus is cheaper than Econsafe. Okay, then we make the decision. Okay, so a lot of this data, info, knowledge, and of course, after we make the decision, and this one is the wisdom. So we know all this. So this one is the hierarchy that we should know, and is our goal. After we process all the data, info, then make the decision, see whether are correct or not. Okay, this one. Okay, it seems like I think I print the wrong one. Okay, so if you see this one, you think is data or information. Okay, so just now we already asked Song Ling. Okay. Yong Ting say this one is data. Why? Okay, just a fact or record. Not even process. But through your eye, is it possible that you can process something? New date? Probably, yes. Okay, so we won't, Yung Ting say this one is data. Yes, of course, based on the picture, it is, I say not 100%, but I say is data. But when we go through read one by one of the case and do some comparison, then only we can say this one is information. So compared to this part, of course, this one is more toward info. Based on the chart, we already know that, okay, we already know that the scale is go upward. We know the total date and total case is continue growing. Okay, so this one is the info. We do not need to spend time to look all the number and see whether it's increasing or decreasing. Okay, so Yung Ting's answer is correct. So compared to these two, we know one is data and one is information. But how good is this info? Whether it can be used for our for our MKN to make a decision, say whether this Chinese New Year can open house or not, or the case will be dropped. Even open house, people also won't die one. So this is for them to make decision, see whether they want to continue or let all the citizen to have an open house. Their SOP should be tightened or loose. Let everyone can enjoy this Chinese New Year. Okay, so based on this info, they will continue do the decision for this part. Although we always U-turn, but we try to use this to make decision. Okay, same thing again, but this one is a predict. Lots of data, but we predict until 2025, we will have more than how many terabyte of data pass through every minute of a day. Then I'll continue. We have this thing called database management system. So after we know the relationship between data and information, we try to put all these things together. And of course, whether we try to use this online transaction processing or online analytical processing, try to use all this, or even we have this unstructured data. We try to put everything together and make it become a one database management system. Of course, we need to, sorry. I lost one slide. Yes, I lost one slide. Okay, so this one is for our data management system. If we look at this info, we have this thing called big data, and big data. So based on this movie or based on this forum, if previously you already learned this database management system, you may heard this word called big data. So what is the meaning of this big data? Through getting all the information, to getting all the data from the web, OLTP. So from the web, we can get a lot of this online transaction. Let's say Lazada, Shopee, they will try to get or let's say collect all your activity. So if you browse through their website or their apps, through handphone, they will just continue checking your behavior, which product you already browse through. Maybe it's a big title. Then they will just continue to check. Okay, you're looking for, let's say, electronic device, and continue. They will check. Or you are looking at computer system, or maybe probably you want to buy a laptop or desktop. Okay, so based on the behavior, previous behavior during this 1 to 2 day, they can just detect you already have the intention to buy something regarding computer system. Okay, so this one is the online transaction or online analytical process. This one is the analytical process. So previously, if you already buy some system and you continue to look at this computer system, then it will try to combine all the data together, and later they will use this info to judge whether you want to buy a new system or not. Okay, so this one is based on the customer behavior. Next one is this unstructured data. So just now I already mentioned, if you go to Lotus or Tesco to buy something, actually they will also try to get all this data, every transaction, the receipt, how many product you already buy, and just put into one database management system. This one is what we call big data. Okay, next one is a data extract. So this one is go through some form. Okay, go through some form of process, then only put in. This one is unstructured because the info from Tesco, the info from Econsif, Aeon, or even let's say others online sales, Lazada, Shopee, Taobao, whatever data that you want is already go through, they will just simply put into their database and try to help the business or help the business, the seller, to judge whether the customer, what is the action of a customer, probably the next few days. Okay, so continue on to this part. We have all this data warehouse, metadata, database. We will just continue to get all this together. Then at the end, use for this business intelligence tool to do some decision. This part. So it will help them help this user to make some decision much more faster or more accurate. Okay, then I'll continue for this part. We have this operational database. We also have this others internal database and external database. So this ETL system is is a system that are trying to combine all these external or internal or operational database. It is from different phase. They try to combine everything together, clean out, and try to do some summarize and put everything into this database warehouse and later use it for this business intelligence decisions, whether they will suggest to buy something, to sell something, or to make any other decisions. Okay, so start from this part, we will try to differentiate the categorize of this information. First one is the source, where you get this info. Okay, before we start, before we continue to this part, Kai Xuan. Kai Xuan, can you suggest or tell me where I can get some data about student? Anyway, data about student. Internet. Yes. Any more? Or intranet. Through intranet, you can get. Yes. Yes. We have this stuff intranet. I can log in and try to. Okay. So this one for this part. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kai Xuan. Okay. Next. Chin. Chin Si. Okay. Okay, student, to just now, Kai Xuan said through intranet, I can get some info about student, but the one that I get is something like this. Just your email and program. Okay, so this is the info, the only info that I can use because I need to mark attendance. So the of course I need to get this info in order, okay, in order to mark attendance. So this college should give me this info in order for me to do this task. Okay, so okay, so Chinsi, can you suggest any other way I can get data about student? Not only for Keta lah, any, or even primary school. Okay, I repeat. Just now Kai Xuan say through intranet, I can get the info of a student. I need your suggestion to give some others example. What is the way where you can get the info or any data about student? Yes, survey. Can. Thank you, Chinsi. So to survey, you print out the form and you pass it to student. Ask them to write down their name, their phone number. So this one is survey. I also do one survey later. Later I will also do one survey. Remember to attend this survey. Okay, so through survey or any way, we can get some info, data from our, let's say, customer, from the seller, or our target. Okay, so this one is the source, categorized based on the source. First one is primary information. This one is the original source document. So just now, if let's say Kai-Xuan say intranet, so this one is original. When I print out or when I extract the name, the ID, name, faculty, program, and status from this intranet. So I get all this data, and later I may need to do some process. So whether you attend this class, I just mark if no. If you didn't answer, then maybe I put a cross. Okay, so this one is the primary information, original source. So after a few, after I process this at the end of this semester, then I can just give you, say, your attendance percentage, how much. Let's say more than 80 is you are okay. More than, let's say, less than 50, then you may not allow to sit for the exam. Okay, so this one is secondary information. After we process the primary source, is the second-hand version of course. During this part, you won't see how many, you won't see when you absent from the class or when you attend the class. So therefore, the secondary information is more toward processed data info. Okay, internal or external. So some of this is, let's say, for our intranet. This one is internet internal information. For Chinsi's answer, going to do a survey, send out all the form, questionnaire, ask the student to answer. So this one is external information. Okay, so through use of your sample, I can just finish this categorize of the source. The next one, sorry. Okay, next one is the nature of this information. Okay, first one is qualitative, and the second one is quantitative. We can see this keyword here. Okay, one is looks, another one is number. So when we see the sample here, when we see say the unicorn have a gray horn and a rainbow's meal. So this one, we based on the look, we can just simply describe, and people will know actually how these unicorns look like. Okay, so this one is more toward look and some of the perceptions. For quantitative, this one is based on the number. Okay, based on the number. So unicorn horn is 6 inch. This one got 6 inch. And the male have a 7 color. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 color. Okay, whatever. Okay, so this one is based on the number. We can one is based on number and another one is based on this look. So we know that it is the nature of this thing, how we going to describe and put it into database. Cheng Piu. If my pronunciation wrong, please let me know. I have a difficulty of pronounce a student name. Is Cheng Piu here? Heng Cheng Piu, correct? Yes. How to pronounce Cheng Piu? Fin? Ping. Cheng Ping. Okay, thank you. Okay, Cheng Ping, can you give me one example of qualitative data? Colors of car on the street. Mm, not so understand. So if you say color of cars on the street, so if change it to quantitative, then how are you going to say it? Sorry, Jinping may not really understand my question. So I use this one as an example, and I hope the student can give another example. So when you we use both use the same case, but when we want to describe it using a qualitative and a quantitative, the description is totally different. So I asked Jinping to give another example. Okay, grade of a student in a class. Okay, is a good scenario. Okay, so how are you going to describe it? Using a qualitative. is a good example. The student has the highest grade in the class, or one student or many students. Grade of a student. Okay, Ali is the highest grade, have the highest grade in the class. Okay, so if we describe it using a quantitative, how are you going to describe it? Okay, average score. Okay, thank you, Jinping. Okay, based on Jinping answer, I just do some modification. The grade of a student in the class for this subject, all the lecturer every semester will need to have to give a comment, see whether the student performance is good or not. So normally I will say the performance of a student for this subject is excellent. Okay, so this one is qualitative. So it's a kind of a description. Then for quantitative, I say the okay. We have more than 80 or 100% of a passing rate. Also, okay, so based on this 100% of a passing rate, so this one is quantitative. Okay, so you can use this one as an example. Excellent. Used to describe student grade or performance of this semester, maybe for one subject. And let's say 100% passing rate. Okay, so this one is a good example. Maybe you can learn from here as well. Okay, so for this oil painting for qualitative, we have this blue color, green color, gold frame. Use a lot of word to describe this oil painting. But for this quantitative, we have a lot of this number. So you can see when we compare this one to our example just now, based on Jinping's answer. So the highest mark or whatever, this one is a bit toward qualitative, whether it's good, highest grade in the class. For this quantitative, the average score is 50. Okay, so you can just do a comparison. Both picture is the same, but the way that going to describe is totally different. Okay, so same thing for this one. Latte. Use what kind of a coffee bean? The taste, the cup. But this one is how many ounce? The degree, which is good to make this coffee. The price, Okay, so the same thing, but when we want to describe it, the word used is totally different. Okay, so this one is the nature of this info. Okay, we will have a 5-minute break here. Before you go, can you just put a +1? 5-minute break, but before you go, can you put a +1? This one is for attendance. Wow, 2000. Then how many years? Every time I only have a 1+1. Okay, quickly put a +1. Then you can go to rest for 5 minutes. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, you can rest for 5 minutes. 22, 23. Okay, let's continue. Seven. Seven. Five, six, seven, one student is missing here. Okay, sure. Okay, so for this categorization of information, if you want to categorize it based on the level, we have a three level here. One is a strategy, and one is for tactic, and the last one here we have operational. So of course, you can see the red color word here. We have a long term. This one for strategy. This one is a long term decisions. So for tactic, this one is for a case, okay? Well, no, not a case. Planning for maybe 1 to 2 months. This one is for short-term decisions. Then the last one here, we have this operational planning, individual case, okay? So we just try to use one case as an example. So if one company, one big company, let's say overseas or multinational company, that when they want to make a decisions for their future, maybe they will have most of the time they will have a 5-year plan, 10-year plans, something like this. So for this 5-year plan, this one is a long-term decisions. And during this long-term decision, 5-year plan, what they want to do. So they say they want to invest in one new market. So let's say they want to find one country. So maybe they will invest in Malaysia. Okay. Then for after they do a decisions to invest in Malaysia, so this one is a long-term decisions. Then I'll continue. After they finish they accept all the people in charge accept this one is their long-term decisions, the strategy. Then they will need to make the second decisions here. What is the field they want to join or sales in this country? So where they want to sales. Maybe they want to make a decision, say maybe a KL will be better, or Ipoh will be better, or even a Kampar will be better. Okay, so this one is some example. Then where they want to sell it, individual, individual. So a little case in Kampar, where they want to choose the place, what is the target market. So sales to student, something like this. Okay, so based on the level of this info, they can we can have this differentiations. Okay, so this one is just one example. And of course, the lowest example, of course, a lot of people need to make the decisions, try to check every of this operational, see whether everything is correct or not. But of course, the top part, the strategy is the most important. Okay, so this one, based on the different individual operational database, they combine all this, and later they will continue to do the decision, try to summarize it, and get the info from this operational database. Then the latest go to summarization for this part. Okay, the last one for this categorization, here is the time. Whether is history, historic information, current, or is for future. Okay, so based on this part for the time, for the historic information, so based on our history, so let's say Malaysia history, when this country is first built, and what is the culture of this country citizens, what is their like and what they don't like. Okay, so this one is based on history. Then I'll continue, I'll do the changes currently. Okay, currently, what is their current situation? So let's say for current Malaysian citizen, we have a lot of these problems, lack of this food support, shortage. This one is current problems. Maybe based on this information, they can do some kind of changes or do some kind of decisions. Of course, for the future, whether this country will become better or not, this one is for the future part. And they can base on this trend to do some kind of a decision. Okay, of course, based on the weather, we also can do some kind of a decision whether you what food you want to sales. So what this yes. Okay, so based on the data here, you can decide which kind of food you want to sell. We got not really suitable. Okay, not really suitable. But combine of all these individual data, so the hottest, coolest, westest, windest, you can we can just combine all this and to predict, or based on the history, we can predict future what will be happen. Okay, so this one is something we can use not only for business but for government as well. So during last few week of this disaster in KL, Klang, if we have a lot of this weather forecast, then the yeah, the situation may not be so bad like this happened. Okay, this one is history. Okay, so we continue on to this part. How are we going to get all this information? So just now, I shouldn't, right? Okay, so just now Kai Xuan say info capture we can get from intranet. For me, for lecturer, we can always go to intranet and get all this student data, but only for these few things, not even a phone number. Okay, so the way that we capture this data, we have this OCR barcode graphing. Based on document imaging, scan through scanner or whatever. Then continue to this part is unstructured. Okay, so just now for slide 3, no, for slide 6, we have this lots of data, big data. We know a lot of this unstructured data is actually go through or capture from internet based on this whether it's through WhatsApp, Facebook, Amazon, or any of this website, we just combine together. So this one is unstructured. So it is also a way of capturing data. And this one, after we catch all this data, of course, we need this thing called big data analysis. So we try to do the analysis, but the problem here is the data here is actually unstructured. So what we need to do is it will need this thing called non-relational database. So no SQL, okay, no SQL, but we just store all this data to our database, and later we will need to have very big process power in order to process all this data. Okay, so learn the keyword of this big data. This is the current term for enormous data set generated by web and mobile application. So let's say just now, the starting of the class that we already mentioned, if you go to Lazada or Shopee and you try to browse something, when you open Google Chrome, in the search bar there, you type something and try to search some information. All this activity is actually captured by the company. Okay, so let's say when you use a Google Chrome, I cannot 100% sure whether they will capture your data or not. So the keyword that you send to their server, and they respond you the result, they will keep a track what is the keyword you searched before. Okay, so this one, whether you delete from your browser or whatever, they will still have a copy. Okay, so this one, after you do the searching, this one is actually a capture and put inside after process, then it will become something that will be used for the future. Okay, so way we use this, you can see we have this politics, we also have a business, we also have this healthcare and etc. a lot. Okay, so for this politics, we have this prediction of an election result. So who know, Johor, after the next few weeks, we will have this state election. Do know, okay? Do know. But all this politics, whether they in charge or they don't in charge, they will try to employ or try to check whether they will have how many percent they will win this election. Okay, so not only for Malaysia, but even US, Russia, we also have this kind of a problem, or they will just try to use this big data and see whether they can win this election or not. Of course, politics is always unpredictable. So this one, they just show them as a result, as a prediction, not result. So always change. Okay, so for business, just now we mentioned behavior, searching behavior through this social media. So a lot of this social media, let's say Facebook, have a lot of this topic, see whether which party is better or which product is better. So this one through Facebook or any other social media, Instagram, after you respond, this product is good, this product is not good, then of course they will use it as a analysis. Maybe they want to cut this product, or they continue to do an advertisement to promote this product. Okay, so this one is for big data. Of course, for healthcare, this one for this COVID-19, a lot of this big data, this of especially this 1 to 2 years, based on this big data, we know or we can predict the trend of current situation. Okay, so this MKN already predict now coming 1 to 2 months, the number of COVID-19 cases will be scaled up. Okay, so this one is their prediction, but their advice is always say, please follow SOP. And if you follow SOP, everything should be okay. Hopefully, okay. Hopefully everything is okay. Then we won't. We can go back to campus and continue our study. Okay, so this one is the prediction based on this big data. Okay, so we have this two keyword here. For this big data, the data type is different. So reason is we collect from different website, and the data is always different. So let's say when you get this data from Facebook, of course they are doing a kind of let's say forum, so everyone can just respond, and the way that they respond is always different. Maybe through WhatsApp, the keyword that are used is also different. Okay, so this one is different source, so the data type is always different. Then after you get all this data, we need to have this very high velocity. The processor, the process is always in a high speed. So this one is very huge processing power in order to process all this data in order to become useful useful information. So this one after we do the analysis, then it can be used for business, politics, and advertisement as well. Okay, then I'll continue. We talk about this metadata and all this the relationship between metadata and data. Okay, this keyword metadata is the Greek word combined with the Latin data. So combine these two together, it becomes info. Okay, data about data. So we have this picture here. Data metadata is the data about data. So when we do our database, we always have this description. So this one is the data dictionary. When we create our database, we need to create all these individual table, row, and a field. So this one we have a cost. For this cost, we have this type alphanumeric. So this one is a way of metadata that used to describe data. Of course, later, later we will receive a lot of data, and it's based on all this format. Okay, so this one is the example. You use Oracle before. When we say this describe all user, this one I will list out all the things and what is the data type here. Okay. Okay, so this one is for all user, how this user is stored in the database based on this data type. Okay, next one here is the type of indexing. The reason why we want to use indexing. 红姜青红酱青红酱 not here 李慧荣 oh sorry do I pronounce your name wrong oh should be Hong Jiang Ching right okay sorry okay sorry okay the reason why we want to have this indexing okay why it is easy yes more unique but why it is easy except more unique yes reduce the speed of searching but how yes indexing have a sequence okay thank you sorry student because the some of the name here is always sometimes the surname will be in front sometimes the surname is at the back so when I pronounce always have problems so I will try to check again okay so we have this thing called sequence you can see from here this one is for the index number it is in sequence from the smallest to the biggest number okay so this one is in sequence so for computer system when we want to search something numeric it is much more faster compared to character okay so if we do a indexing here and once it find a number it can it can for database it can be very fast to search to point okay not search it already search but point to a particular data okay okay so this one is the reason why we want to have this indexing especially if the database is huge and if you didn't have this indexing then it will spend a lot of time to search from the top of the database to the end should be table, search the table from the top to the end. But it is impossible. The speed will be, of course, let's see. Okay, the speed of searching the whole table, of course, will be much more larger, slower compared to search index, because this index is in sequence. The sequence is from the smallest to largest. So if you want to find some number, so let's say E03033, when this a computer system, they will easily find this E03033. The speed will be fast, like millisecond. Then this one will be 0.2. Okay, so it will be much more faster. Okay, so this is the reason why we want to have this indexing, and you need to think which table, okay, which table you need to do this indexing, because for doing indexing, it is also spend a lot of time. No, not a lot of time, but a lot of this process to continue updating this indexing. Okay, next one. Okay, so we have 3 kinds of this query here. Procedural. This one is cubism. It's a very, it take a lot of this heavy process. You need to read the database, a lot of a sequence, how we connect to how this program software program connect to the database. It will have one, let's say ODBC, in order to connect to this database. And the programmer must have this knowledge, what is the step by step in order to connect to this database. It requires some technical knowledge, but this some, the keyword here, some, for us is quite a lot. So if everything is okay, then they can continue to write their program in order to connect to this database. The second one, so the example of this one is, let's say C, when we want to use C, connect to this database. Next one here, we have this SQL, declarative query. When you open this SQL pass, this one is a kind of a declarative query, and it will be much more easy. The connection will be much more easy to do the connection. Okay, it is a direct, seems like direct connection. Okay, next one here, we have this navigation query. So you can see the example here. Navigation query come into 2 types. One is the word, full word, another one is partial. So if you type something for this part, for this navigation, it will be good. You just draw one rectangle here, and just type some keyword. Let's say YouTube. Then at the back, you put a button called search. This one is a sample or example of this navigation query. So you already know the keyword, and you just type into this searcher, and it will show you the result. So we have some example here. We have this HP, eBay, Hotmail, New York Times. You type this keyword to this search box and press search, it will show you the result. So this is what we call navigation query. The second part here, the portion, just a part of this keyword, let's say ebay.com or www.hotmail. There's a not .com here, but it will help you to fulfill the rest of the keyword. Okay, so this one is as how we're going to access this query. Okay, next one, for database, it is always important. But I think this one you already learned from intro to multimedia and this database management. Previously, you should already learn this. Okay, I just do some revision. So for this information security, we try to do some define how we're going to protect our database. How we're going to protect our information. So this one is the first way, see confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the info. So I always suggest students to use this keyword called CIA. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so I always suggest a student to use this keyword CIA. So this CIA is not Central Intelligence Agency, the agency in US, no. But a keyword, confidential, integrity, and availability. So you can use this short form to memorize maybe when you prepare for the exam. Okay, so for confidentiality, preserve authorized restriction on information access and disclose. Okay, so this part, if I use the info of a student as an example again. So in order, okay, sample. If I want to get all this info, okay, if I want to get all this info, so let's say name, faculty, and program, if without login, I won't be possible to get this. So the info of your name, phone number, etc. is confidential. So this one, for the faculty, they will ask me to key in my username and password in order, okay, in order to get this information. Okay, so this one is confidentiality. A lot of this data is actually private. So even this website didn't put your birth date, phone number, I need to ask, let's say, a class rep to key in all this or get publish one Excel file and ask you to key in, okay, in order to get your phone number. Okay, so this one, your data info is always confidential. Okay, next one is integrity. Sorry. Okay, next one is integrity. So let's say I use this your exam mark as an example. So if when I want to key in your exam mark or coursework mark, I also need to do a kind of authentication. So after I key in a username and password, then I'll continue to log in and go to a specific website. And only start from that point, I key in your exam mark. Okay, so the integrity for this part, they will just try to limit. So let's say question 1, the maximum is 25%. Question 2 also 25. Question 3, 20. Question 4 also 25%. So if the mark is access this 25%, means the data got problem. So this one is a way to check whether this data is correct or not. Of course, not only of the key in part, but the other lecturer who in charge for checking this mark will also go through the mark that I key in, whether it's correct or not. Okay, so this one is the integrity to ensure that the information that key into the system is always correct. Okay, last one, we have this availability, ensure that the timely and reliability access to end use of the information. When we need to use this data or info, it will be available, but through authentication. Okay, after you authenticate, then only you will get it. Okay, so this information security, we have this CIA, and even we already try to define this CIA, but a lot of time we still have this problem to our information. So you can see from here, according to this report, by 2019, we still have 3.2 million of this case, which is leaking, or a lot of this data breach exposed 4.1 billion of record in the first 6 months of 2019. Okay? So whatever we define here, but we still have this data breaching occur during 2 to 3 years ago. Okay, so we have this threat to the information of security. So whether it's human error, software error, or hardware error. So for human error, of course, you accidentally delete all the data. For software, the software corrupt and it make the data all gone. Or the hardware failure, hard disk used too long time, and the whole hard disk cannot be used anymore. So this one is considered as a hardware failure. Okay, of course, we have an environment failure, etc. for this part. This one is what we call accidental loss. We also have this theft and fault. Okay, the computer system is stolen. So this one is theft. Loss of privacy and confidential. Okay, so for personal data, this one is loss of privacy. So let's say your phone number or whatever is getting by some hacker or some of this spam creator. Then they will just call you and say, okay, your bank account is your bank account is in a weak situation. Ask you to change your password immediately by pressing some link. Then this one is what we call loss of privacy. Okay, next one is the loss of confidentiality. A lot of this corporate data, whether it's through software failure or human error, is leaking to others. So this one is a loss of confidentiality. Of course, the company will bear the cost, and people may sue them and ask for money. Okay, so last two here, we have a loss of data integrity and a loss of this availability. If you cannot use, when you want to use this data and it is not there, and this one is loss of ability. And let's say some people try to hack to the system and change the amount of money. So this one is what we call loss of data integrity. Okay, 3 more. Okay, so for this information security, we always suggest if you are the database system administrator, you should know this thing called backup and recover. From time to time, after we do the backup, from time to time, we will have we will save this log file to our system, and this all the backup file will try to save or upload to cloud or save in another space in order to prevent this human error, hardware failure, or even a software failure as well. Okay, so for this physical security, computerized and manual policy and procedural offense lock the key and the security guide. So for the physical part, we lock the door and prevent others to access to the computer. Okay, so this one is essential. Okay, so for the database, only allowed user is go in to access this database through physical or login. Okay, technical security, we try to encrypt for the database. When we want to access, when the user want to access this database, they need to authenticate first. So after their username and password log in, we still need to check whether they have this access right to access certain table, certain field. Okay, so this one is based on the database right. So the database DBA, the database administrator will have the right to check and assign who have the right to access a certain database table, etc. Okay, so this one is technical security. Next one here, we have this audit trace. So this one, previously we haven't, I haven't have the chance to do this thing. I'm not the DBA for the database, so I won't be possible to do this trace. So the problem here is with the DBA will enable this auditing. And of course, we have a lot of sequence of this procedure to follow and see whether the database transaction or current stage is a follow what we call the SOP. Okay, so specify this audit option. So they will just go through the test, the check, see whether the sequence is a follow this SOP or not. Okay, review of this audio information. So everything done, then they will just go back and let the DBA will go and check, see whether all the audit is passed or not. Everything is on the right train or not. Okay, so if everything is okay, then I'll continue maintaining this audit trail. So if everything is okay, then this database should be okay. If anything is wrong, then they will need to do some changing to the database. So a lot of these problems occur. Company will need to do some checking. So if the user already leave the company, they will need to remove this user from the database. But a lot of time, this human resource maybe they already forget this part and they forget to inform the DBA. So the user will still be there even after a few years. Okay, so this one is what we call this audit trace. We'll try to check, see whether every process or every sequence is in the right train or not. Okay, so this one is checking and try to set everything correctly. Then we come to this last slide. We have this thing called information assurance. So just now for the information security, we set a CIA, we set this audit trace, and we hope that everything is okay. But setting, we set the standard, set the action of this audit trace. Everything should be okay. But setting is easy, but assurance is always difficult. Okay, we define a process. Okay, this A, we should do this thing. B, we should do this thing. C, we should do this thing. We define step by step. Everything should be okay. But they will always have some error whether it's a human error, software error, or even a hardware error. Okay, so this part, information assurance is defined as make sure that protect and defend the information and information system by ensuring that availability, integrity, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation. So we try to assure everything is in the right train, but it always have a problem. Okay, so we take this example for banking. We know if the data is corrupt, the bank will need to pay their customer how many million or billions of dollar if anything goes wrong. Even maybe the government will sue them as well. Okay, so but every month this bank will still have a downtime. Maybe they want to do the backup thing. Okay, so backup their data. But a lot of time you can see this ATM machine is always during a weekend is always down, and the human being need to do something to ensure that the ATM machine is up again, but it's already over maybe 6 to 12 hours. Okay, so this one, again, when we want to do the definition, define all this information security is easy, but the way to assure everything is okay is difficult. Okay, so finish. So this one is some book that you need to refer. If later when you go back to campus, you can borrow this book and try to do your study. Okay, any question before we end our class? Don't laugh so fast. No? No? Okay. So, Pacey, please try to form their group and send me Excel file as soon as possible. Name and phone number. Okay, so this one is important. I need this info in order to form add you all to the WhatsApp group. Easy for me to announce or communication. Okay, so if no problem, please put a +2 and you can leave. Bye-bye. +2. For those leave too earlier, please ask them to join in. Okay, someone's typing a wrong number. On 10. We are having a WhatsApp group. Shall I use the current one? But if I use this one, then I will interrupt others lecturer. So I better use my one. Okay. So if no problem, you can leave. Thank you.